Welcome to this explainer. You know that feeling when someone walks into a room and the whole vibe just shifts? You don't even have to say a single word to them, right? You just feel it instantly? Well, today, we're diving into the source material behind a leader's true secret weapon, boosting team energy. The data here shows an absolutely fascinating direct link between a leader's internal emotional state and what their entire team actually produces. We're not talking about your strategy docs or the key performance indicators you're tracking. We are talking about the literal, physiological energy you bring into the room.
Which brings us to a huge question. How much does your vibe actually shape your team? I really want you to chew on that for a second, because the research highlights a massive and frankly urgent blind spot for a lot of leaders. We kind of tend to think our moods are just, our own private internal experiences, but they aren't. Because of this biological quirk called limbic resonance, our nervous systems are literally hardwired to sync up with the people around us. So if you walk in carrying a heavy burden of unspoken stress, you're not just having a bad day in a vacuum. The mirror neurons in your team's brains immediately start firing, copying your exact state of stress. You are actively physically transmitting your state to the people who rely on you. Crazy, right?
So let's jump right into Section 1, the hidden vibe effect, and why stress is inherently contagious.
The source text brings us to this exact crossroads that literally every single leader faces when dealing with this emotional contagion. Look, when a leader is stressed, the team just absorbs it like a sponge. You might think, oh, I'm hiding it fine behind my closed office door, or I'm on mute on the video call, it's fine. But that underlying tension, it leaks out. A slight shift in your tone, a tiny micro-expression, even the way you word an email. Your team picks up on all those subconscious cues, and that shared anxiety just drags the whole operation down. But when a leader steps up and actively shields their team's energy, wow, everything fundamentally changes. You transition from the state of shared anxiety to a state of protected potential. The leader acts as a circuit breaker. You absorb the organizational pressure, you project stability, and it completely rewires the team's operational reality.
All right, moving on to Section 2, the team energy ROI.
We've talked about the why, so let's get into the tangible business results. Because this isn't just about making people feel comfortable, this is about optimizing the brain for elite performance. When you guard team energy, you kick off a literal domino effect. First up, boosted creativity. Why? Well, when the brain isn't busy freaking out over threat signals from a stressed boss, it stops operating in fight or flight mode. It shifts those precious cognitive resources back to the prefrontal cortex, the part that actually does the creative problem solving. Second, you get increased focus. Protected energy means the psychological static is cleared out. The mental load required to survive a tense environment just vanishes, letting everyone focus on the deep work that actually moves the needle. Third, enhanced happiness naturally follows when people feel psychologically safe. And here's where the dominoes really start falling fast. When you combine that open creativity, that laser focus, and genuine safety, the specific outcome is fewer mistakes, period. The team is fully dialed in. And when your team is engaged, hyper-focused, and executing flawlessly, that naturally compounds into undeniable, quantifiable business wins.
Now for the how. Section 3, steps to power up.
So how do we actually execute this? The source gives us a super tactical 3-part playbook to actively protect this vital team energy. Step 1, spot burnout early. Now this means looking way past the obvious stuff, like pure exhaustion. As a pro leader, you're looking for micro shifts. Is your usually passionate, highly engaged employee suddenly super agreeable but entirely passive? Huge red flag right there. They aren't suddenly aligned with you, they're simply too tired to care. You have got to intervene before the tank is totally empty. Step 2, set clear boundaries. A guarded team needs a literal fence around their focus. In practice, this means setting up asynchronous communication windows. It means being the boss who explicitly bans weekend emails, or the one who steps in to deflect a non-urgent request from another department. It's your specific job to be the umbrella taking the hit from the organizational rain. And step 3, celebrate small victories. We're not talking about a giant pizza party for a major launch here. It's about acknowledging the invisible work. Did somebody quietly clear a bottleneck that saved engineering 3 days of work? Call that out. Highlighting these small, daily acts of momentum is the exact actionable lever you need to pull to keep those reward pathways firing and team energy consistently high.
Pulling all this off requires a pretty massive paradigm shift in how we view leadership. It's moving away from simply managing tasks and timelines to becoming a dedicated manager of energy. Because when your team's energy is high, success follows. It's a direct cause and effect narrative. No coincidences here. The source material draws a perfectly straight line from the stable psychological safety you project to the mental bandwidth you actively protect, straight through to the ultimate compounded success your team achieves. It's the logical, inevitable conclusion of spotting early disengagement, ruthlessly setting focus boundaries, and hyping up those micro wins.
I want to leave you with a truly powerful directive directly from the source today. Be the leader who powers up the whole. Take a hard look at your own day-to-day interactions, right down to the tone of your messages and how you hold yourself in those morning meetings. Are you draining the collective battery, or are you the charger? It is entirely within your control. Challenge yourself to step into the role of an energy multiplier. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Now, take these insights, go become that circuit breaker, and power up your team.